Hey, Shalom, this is your brother Thon. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say Shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. All right, may the blessing of election be upon your house. Now, I've been reading the book of Nehemiah, and Nehemiah was chosen by the Most High to lead the rebuilding of Jerusalem's wall. Okay, physically and spiritually. You see, back then, the nations viewed the walls of a city as a physical representation of the spiritual power of a nation's God. Now, obviously, that doesn't apply to Yahweh because we know that he's the one true living God. Nonetheless, this is how the nations viewed it. Now, what you could liken it unto is our standing with our power, our relationship with our God. And that was the Lord giving us mercy. Even when I looked it up, Nehemiah, his first voyage to Jerusalem, because he was the cupbearer for Artaxerxes, who was ruling at the time, he allowed him to go back to Jerusalem in the year 444 BC, right? 4 being mercy, 3-4 is complete mercy. That was the Lord, allowing us to have an opportunity to get back in good standing with him. All right, so in a way, we're doing that now. You have the prophets who are pushing the word and helping the elect be built up in the mind and in faith so they can endure the test that's on the horizon. The straight gate, Jacob's trouble, which is what I'm speaking of. But during Nehemiah's time, Nehemiah and Ezra's time, you had many foreigners and other nations who were trying to frustrate the building of that wall. People that had nothing to do with the nation of Israel and their relationship with the Most High. So, of course, they wanted to hinder the building of the wall. They act like they wanted to help in some instances, but of course they wanted to, steer it off course. Now, reason being is our relationship with the Yahushua Yahushai is akin to dominion over the earth and the nations and people in it. So that wall being rebuilt was really just another instance in which the name of the Lord could be glorified. Okay, it was for his name's sake, because you got to remember the thought process of the nations. They looked at a city's walls as a physical representation of the spiritual power of a nation's God. Okay, so that was just another time that the Lord used that scenario to show that he is. Now, when you go to Psalms 2, it taps even more so into the mindset of the nations and how they're trying to free themselves, so to speak, from that dominion of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and thus the dominion of the nation of Israel, because we're likened unto his children, his wife, his sons, all of that. So by default, us having that covenant with him, the people and the nations and all the resources within it, by default are ours. So you go to Psalms 2, and I'm gonna read it in the NLT here. It reads, "Why are the nations so?" And we're at the top, verse 1. "Why are the nations so angry? Why do they waste their time with futile plans? The kings of the earth prepare for battle. The rulers plot together against the Lord and against his anointed one." And you go to Psalms 83, it talks about the nations being confederate against the nation of Israel. And I briefly elaborated on what it really means. Okay? Verse 3, it says, "Let us break their chains," they cry. "Let us break their chains," they cry, "and free ourselves from slavery to God." But the one who rules in heaven laughs. The Lord scoffs at them. Then in anger, he rebukes them, terrifying them with his fierce fury. For the Lord declares, "I have placed my chosen king on the throne in Jerusalem." And Jerusalem, again, is a people before it's a place. "On my holy mountain." Mountains, often a time in the scriptures, represent what? A government or a ruling power. And there's going to be the sole world power upon the establishment of the kingdom of heaven, the nation of Israel. The king proclaims the Lord's decrees. The Lord said the Lord said to me, you are my son. Today I have become your father. All right? Only ask, and this is the point I wanted to back up my statement. Only ask, and I will give you the nations as your inheritance, the whole earth as your possession. So us having that relationship that we have with the Lord, having that covenant. Verse 8 is what that means. Dominion over the people and the earth itself. So in time past, there's always been something physical for the nations to attack, right? The wall, temple. Now there's nothing physical for them to attack. All that's left to attack is the people themselves, the mind, the spirit of the people, intangible things. Now, a lot of 2/3 of our nations, man, they're gonna be judged, left here and belted. They're gonna receive that mark and the charagma to show allegiance to the wicked. And some brothers are gonna be martyrs, but those who are truly in tune with the Lord, the elect, that 1/3, there's nothing physically that the enemy could do to frustrate or hinder the building that's going on today. You see? And all this devil has is physical weapons. Remember, his blessing was a sword. So that's why he's going to be like a madman, sparing none, a futile effort to overthrow what's inevitable. All right, so let's go to Nehemiah 1, all right, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Rachamiah, all right, which means Yahweh comforts. All right, so it's Nehemiah 1:1. It says, these are the memoirs of Nehemiah, son of Hakaliah, in the late autumn, in the month of Kislev, in the 20th year of King Artaxerxes' reign. I was at the fortress of Susa. Hananiah, one of my brothers, came to visit me with some other men who had just arrived from Judah. I asked them about the Jews who had returned from their captivity and about how things were going in Jerusalem. They said to me, things are not going well for those who returned from the province of Judah. They are in great trouble and disgrace. The wall of Jerusalem has been torn down and the gates have been destroyed by fire. Now you got to remember, the nation of Israel still had enemies in the land. Now you go to the book before this, in the book of Ezra, in the 8th chapter, about 15 on down, it talks about them voyaging around the land with all their treasure, all their gold. I think it was something like 24 tons worth of gold. Mind you, this is a city with no walls, no military. So the tribes around, it's not speculation, it's written. I'll go there. They were trying to get hands on those treasures. So the Lord had to be with them, during that time and during the building. You see? But the real riches we have, even unto this day, is that covenant with the Lord and the obedience. When we exhibit obedience, all those other things, the physical things, are byproducts of our obedience. You see, even the new bodies that we're going to receive, even us getting to enjoy the kingdom of heaven, we got all that from obedience, starting with Yahweh Shai. Gives us right to all of those things. Let's go to Ezra's, the 8th chapter. All right, so this is Ezra's 8, and I'll get down to what they were voyaging across the land with. This is verse 26. It says, this is in the NLT. It says, I weighed the treasure as I gave it to them and found the totals to be as follows: 24 tons of silver, 7.5 pounds. 7,500 pounds, 7.5 tons of silver articles, 7,500 pounds of gold, 20 gold bowls equal in value to 1,000 gold coins, 2 fine articles of polished bronze as precious as gold. And I said to these priests, you and these treasures have been set apart is holy to the Lord. This silver and gold is a voluntary offering to the Lord, the God of our ancestors. All right, so that's what they was traveling with. Verse 29, guard these treasures well until you present them to the leading priests, the Levites, and the leaders of Israel, who will weigh them at the storerooms of the Lord's temple in Jerusalem. So the priests and the Levites accepted the task of transporting these treasures of silver and gold to the temple of God in Jerusalem. Jump down to verse 19 here. Not 19, Salakia. Jump down to verse 31. It says, we broke camp in at Ahava Canal on April 19, which it wasn't called that. And started off to Jerusalem. And the gracious hand of our God protected us and saved us from enemies and bandits along the way. So, they seen all that treasure that Israel was transporting. So those bandits that made those attempts, people knew what they had behind those walls, man. So you had particular instances where, let us help you build, and writing letters to the king saying that the Jews are being rebellious, and all these different ways trying to figure out, man, how can we get over on these people or take the treasures from them? What they doing behind that wall? You know what I mean? That's how people feel when they look at us today. Oh, what are these men doing? Look at these jakes coming together, and it strikes them as strange. It makes them uneasy. Okay? And they want to, again, frustrate the building. So this was just really an encouragement lesson to continue on with the building. There are going to be many plots and ploys as, prophecy begins to ramp up to try to frustrate our building, to try to hinder what we're doing. Stay locked in on the mission, focus on salvation, okay? Don't be deterred by the cares of this life, all right? And everything that any of us have ever wanted is going to come to us by default, simply through obedience to our power, all right? So continue strong in the fear of the Lord. And Abarat Tazah, this lesson was edifying. Shalom.